Hi everybody, Andrew Cuneo here, doing something a little bit different today. It's like a blast from the past. I've actually been drafting on Magic Online some because they have Dominaria Remastered available, which is not available on Arena. I've gotten 7 trophies so far, probably about half that, or probably about twice that number of attempts, so it's gone pretty well. This is a very strange set. Let me move my head a little bit. Because it's all reprints, and it's reprints from a lot of sets that I drafted originally, and I'm not sure that it's a successful remaster in the sense that I think a lot of the sets it's drawing from would probably be more fun to draft in their original state than this is, but this is still kind of fun. There's a lot of cards that have been downshifted in rarity, but it is a lot of old cards, so there's like really large variations in the power balance of a lot of the cards. This pack has a pretty clear first pick in Battle Screech, which is quite good. It's kind of 4/1/1 flyers for 1 card, which is good rate. You get 2 for the initial price, and then if you flash it back, you just have to tap 3 white creatures. So on turn 4, a lot of the time you're just going to put 4/1/1 flyers into play if you start with a white creature in play. Necrosavant. I played this card in my very first Pro Tour constructed deck. My deck wasn't very good. This card, Spite Malice, is probably fine, but only if you're going to be casting both halves of it, which, given that I started with a double white card, might be a little bit hard. The mana fixing in this format is not great, but it does have kind of inherent mana fixing in the sense that the format's pretty slow. So there's way less pressure on you to have all of your colors of mana, very early on in the game than there would be if you were playing like a Brothers War draft, which is really fast. I guess I'll just take the Cleric of the Forward Order, just because it's white. Nothing in that pack is particularly great, I would say. All right, Deep Analysis is really good in this format. It's just, you just don't get punished for playing a card like this. And there aren't that many sources of card advantage. If you've only played the newer formats, a lot of the creatures in newer formats are kind of inherently 2-for-1s. So you don't really run out of stuff to do if you don't have just straight up card drawing in your deck. With these older cards, you do run out of stuff to do if you don't have any card drawing in your deck. So that's good. Wax Wayne is also actually pretty good. Werebear is fine. I think I'm just going to go for Deep Analysis. This card, Orm's Thunder, is it's not that great in this format, but I had it in my deck earlier today, and at one point I blew up my opponent's Icy Manipulator and killed their Sarah Angel. So that worked out well for me. Wow, this pack has double Zero-Arians. This is another oddity of drafting on Magic Online. The pack coalition follows real-life rules, so there are foils, and the foils replace random cards from the pack. It's pretty odd that the foil, we've gotten a foil of the same rare. That it's extremely improbable to have happen. All right, do I want Avon Fisher? Avarax, which I actually like Avarax a lot. It's been downshifted to common. I think in its original set it was printed at uncommon. But there's also Icar's Slick. I think I might just take Avarax, honestly. This early in the draft. Like, Avarax is another way to get card advantage into your deck. Oh, wow. So there's a Thieving Magpie, which I have not had yet. I've had it played against me. It's okay. It's not quite as good as I thought it would be. Mystic Enforcer can be really, really good. There's also a Werebear. I think I might just take Mystic Enforcer. I kind of know I want to be white, and I'm not really sure what my other color is going to be. I might play 3 colors. Being green doesn't really give you anything special in the way of like accessing multiple colors like it would in some sets. I think Birds of Paradise might be rare, but I think that might be the only green specific fixing. So here we've got a Phantom Flock, which is pretty good, and a Cycling Land. I think I'm just going to go with the Phantom Flock for now. The Cycling Lands are really good, both because you, like most of the games do come down a little bit to flooding. Also, it gives you a way to get cards in your graveyard in case you care about Threshold, which is the ability this Mystic Enforcer has. Oh, the way I'm hovering over it, you can't read Threshold. Basically, you just need 7 cards in your graveyard, and that makes that card better. So if I'm blue, Circular Logic is okay. I'm not really a fan of the 7-mana 4/5 flyer. Even in a lower powered format like this, 7 mana is a lot to play for a 4-power flyer. And it has this ability, 5 mana, look at the top 4 cards and reorder them. It's not even scry, so you can't put the bad ones on the bottom. You just have to, you can just dig the better ones to the top a little bit. Ooh, Mana War. Mana War's pretty good. Seems like blue is kind of open. All right, Hermetic Study, which I don't love that. There's a Phantom Flock, a Cycling Land. Terminal Moraine, which is like multicolor fixing if I want it. Is it possible I should just take the Terminal Moraine and be prepared to splash for Mystic Enforcer? Maybe. I think I'm going to do that this early in the draft. If I wind up straight blue-white, Phantom Flock or the Cycling Land would have been better. I think the Avarax Dream has died. Why am I putting these cards in my sideboard as I'm drafting them? I'm drafting like it was on Arena. But this program actually works differently. Cryptic Gateway doesn't do anything. Aquamoeba is pretty weak. I guess I would take it in case I want another 2-drop. Spirit Link is a card that I think people really badly misevaluate. It's really pretty bad. You can only play with it if you're like if you just don't care about attacking on the ground. This Leaden Fist card is okay. I don't know if I really want to have 2 of them in my main deck, but maybe. Ooh, Veiled Serpent's not that bad either. So we have a Terminal Moraine, a Mystic Enforcer, Orm's Thunder, which it is just disenchant. My head isn't really not a great spot for this, huh? I don't know if that makes it any more readable for people, but destroy target artifact or enchantment. So it's just 3 mana disenchant, but it has Kicker Red, which is really good. Whoa, what's this card? Beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more life, you win the game. It'd be nice to have 50 or more life. Probably not the right plan for me, though. We got exile target attacking creature, 4 mana, paired with 3 mana creatures can't block. This isn't a bad card. But I'm pretty clearly blue. And I do maybe I'm not supposed to be white. I have Battle Screech. I don't really have too much else. Ichor Slick is probably the best card in this pack. Followed by Call of the Herd, or maybe Call of the Herd's a little better. If I'm blue-green, that doesn't make a ton of sense. I think I'm just going to take Pacifism. I do need to get more white creatures to make my Battle Screech good for sure. I could just take a second Circular Logic here. I think it's between that and the Cleric of the Forward Order. Circular Logic is really good. And I think with 2 of them I would actually play Aquamoeba because the Aquamoeba can reduce the casting cost. Do I want Fire Ice, which currently I would be playing just Ice, which that's not actually that bad. There's Mistress Factory, which I'm very much a 2-color deck, and I might be a 3-color deck, which makes the Factory a little bit awkward. There's Peregrine Drake, which is pretty weak. I think I'm just going to take Fire Ice. It'll make my deck even if it's only for ice. One thing that's interesting about this card compared to more modern cards is you can tap people's lands. So like if you're on the draw on turn 2, you can just tap your opponent's one of your opponent's lands in the middle of their upkeep of their third turn. So I guess that would be on turn 3. In their upkeep, you can tap one of the lands and maybe, you delay them from deploying a 3-drop for a while because you get to do that. I might be able to fit a little bit of red mana in my deck, especially if I wound up playing Orm's Thunder. I could play like a mountain with Orm's Thunder, Fire Ice, and the Terminal Moraine. Seems like a reasonable plan. Man, another one of these 7-mana flyers. I'm going to say no thanks to that again. I think I'll just take Mystic Zealot. It's a white creature, which I am in the market for white creatures. It's also just a pretty good creature. Once you get Threshold, it's a 3/5 flyer. And like a 4-mana 2/4 in Modern Magic would certainly be something you'd be disappointed in. But it's really not that bad in this format. Okay. Elder Dragon Legend, 8 mana. Really bad ability. We're going to say no thanks to that one. It's incredibly hard to cast, and it's just a 7/7 flyer with an upkeep. So I got a choice here. I could take Rith's Grove, which it would be like a white-red land. These lands are pretty awkward. I would play it if I had the Rith's Grove, but I think I'm just going to take a second Mystic Zealot. Okay, we got Spinal Embrace, which is a removal spell. It's 6 mana, though, and they can only cast it in combat, both of which is pretty awkward. Momentary Blink, which would be nothing special. There is Savannah Lions, which is yet another white creature. I kind of like that. Honestly, I would play Obsessive Search as well. I think I'm going to take Savannah Lions, just because I want to make sure I have enough white creatures for this Battle Screech. And I still might be able to get a second Battle Screech. Do I want a third Mystic Zealot, or should I take a Cycle Land here? I think I'm going to take the Cycle Land. There's also this Tiana Ship's Caretaker, but I think that this card is probably slightly worse than Phantom Flock, which is just a white common flying creature for basically the same mana. Maybe if you have the right deck for like a deck that uses Tiana's, text that never matters, then you would care about Tiana over Phantom Flock. But I think for most decks, they're functionally kind of the same card. Oh man, second Avarax. I should have stuck with the Avarax Dream. I think I'll just take Cloud of Fairies, I guess. What's better, Cloud of Fairies or Renewed Faith? Am I ever really going to want to cast a 1/1 flyer for 2 mana? Probably not. I might want to gain the life. They're both cards that I'm just going to try to cycle every time. Grapeshot can actually be kind of good in this format. Can someone explain to me why they keep putting Jalem Tome in sets? Where is the demand for the Jalem Tomes coming from? Because nobody wants it. Ovenize. This card's okay. Second Aquamoeba. That might make my deck. I'm not sure about that one. We'll put it over there for now. One other thing that's nice about the Aquamoeba is if you want, you can just pitch extra lands to it to get cards in your graveyard to turn on Threshold for Mystic Zealot. Arborea. This is such a weird card to have reprinted. It's not a very good card. Oh, wow. This is one of the strangest things about this format. Tadiova is like, it's just incredibly good. I don't know why it was included in the format. Like, there are some cards in this that are just really weird power level outliers. Tadiova being one of them. Do I want to include green in my deck? Like, I could play Mystic Enforcer and Tadiova. That honestly sounds pretty good. If I'm doing that, I probably won't play the Arms Thunder in the Mountain. I would like to get a little bit more mana fixing if I'm going to do that. All right, Windborn Muse is really good. Question is it better than Mana War? And I think the answer is yes. We got a second Deep Analysis. I think that's the pick here. One of the cool things that can happen in this format, there's this card, Wretched Anurid, that's whenever a creature enters the battlefield, person loses its controller loses a life. The controller of Wretched Anurid. And there was a card in that last pack, White Mane Lion, that's just a 1 and a white flash that when it enters the battlefield, you have to return one of your creature to your hand. And if somebody puts Wretched Anurid in play, you can just burn them out with the White Mane Lion, casting it and having it bounce itself. It's pretty funny / strange. So how are we looking? I would like... I really only need like one more spell. And I would like to get a little bit more to make my land situation more comfortable. Do I want any of these spells? Second Savannah Lion? Probably not. Maybe Obsessive Search with the Aquamoebas could be something. I don't really want a Peregrine Drake. I know that much. I think I'll just take Obsessive Search. Obsessive Search is also good with Circular Logic, just filling up your graveyard. I think I'm probably not going to play this Leaden Fists. We'll see what else I get, though. So as you can see, this is definitely a higher curve format than a lot of newer ones. And it's the wrong land yet again. So I think I'm just taking another Circular Logic. I don't hate it. This pack. There's an Impulse, which is pretty good. Impulse is like backdoor mana fixing. Probably want to cut something for it. Maybe just Renewed Faith. This is backdoor mana fixing in the sense that I can go and find my forest. With this level of card drawing, I might be able to get away with just one forest and a Terminal Moraine. For 2 cards. I would have really liked to get like Treva's Ruins or something out of this pack. Here's the White Mane Lion I was talking about. I don't know if that's going to make my main deck, but it's certainly a pretty good sideboard card. Snap is also a pretty good card. What's a better sideboard card? I think Snap is a better sideboard card, probably. Do I have any reason to care about Auramancer? I don't think so. What does this do? Color changing. No, thank you. A Jalem Tome? Wow, I've been waiting for one of those. Let's take a Savannah Lion. Third Deep Analysis. Can I really not play 3 copies of Deep Analysis? That seems kind of weird. This Gargoyle is okay. Maybe I'll play it over Oven Eyes. Oven Eyes. I don't think I have enough creatures for Wormfang Drake. I'm going to pick Floodgate because I think it's a cool card. Maybe I should play the Crosis's Catacombs just so I can cast fire. I think that's probably too bad. I think I'm not going to do that. Do I want to play a Savannah Lion over a Cleric of the Forward Order? No. Do I want to cut Veiled Serpent for something? Let me make these cards a little bit bigger. Cut Veiled Serpent for Third Deep Analysis. That's probably an improvement. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's better just to have my curve be cheap. With 3 Deep Analysis, I'm definitely, like, I don't think I'm going to play many games where I'm going to flashback Deep Analysis twice. So 3 might be a little bit many. You can target your opponent with Deep Analysis to deck them, but that requires a very unusual game. All right, I do not wish to play with a mountain. Thanks for that offer. I don't really have that much white. I could get away with 6 planes. I think that's what I'm going to do. I am playing 2 forests. So this is giving me 8 blue sources, not counting the Terminal Moraine, and 6 white. 6 white's a little bit low for the Battle Screech, for sure. But my deck just isn't that good at playing Battle Screech, and I'm just going to have to accept it, I think. So I'm splashing green. Tadiova is ridiculously good. If you played Dominaria, you know that Tadiova was good, and this is like a lower power format than Dominaria. So Tadiova is just outrageously good. And Mystic Enforcer, protection from black matters a lot. This is a little bit different from modern sets, where in modern sets, usually at common, there's some form of removal in every color. That really isn't the case in this format. Like if you play green, you can't really kill a creature with your green cards most of the time. So you're relying on your second color to be able to kill a creature, and like sometimes that's black. So if you play against a green-black deck, they're just never going to be able to get the Mystic Enforcer off the board unless they get it into combat with a green creature, which you can try to play to avoid. Sand is obviously missing white mana, and I only have 6 planes in my deck. Maybe I was supposed to mulligan. I'm banking on the fact that this is a slow format. I'm going to play this now because I do have maybe I don't have a Drifting Meadow in my deck. I don't think I do. But I do have a come into play tapped land. Whoa! A little bit of land destruction going on. I'm glad that I played the Remote Isle, given that that's what they did. I was thinking maybe I should have saved it to cycle, but if we're facing the land destruction, maybe it's worth it. Okay. I do have a pacifism in case that guy gets out of hand. Also, I have Circular Logic for 2 right here. And now they're not going to want to attack. I like the way this is going. Come on, Plains or Circular Logic. Not another white card. Okay. Vanaflock's kind of annoying. Like my opponent doesn't want to trade the Thran Golem with the Aqua Amoeba where I discard a card. I feel like it's buying me a fair amount of time that they're playing that way. Alright, I'm beginning to regret having played 2 forests. This has been a mighty job by the Aqua Amoeba holding them off. Should I play Kaldoran Gargoyle or Windborne Muse? I think I'm going to start with the Gargoyle. I think if they had a removal spell, they would have played it on the Aqua Amoeba last turn. They have a Mog War Marshal. That is not going to be very effective against the Windborne Muse I'm probably about to play. And an Ember Beast. That's also not going to be very effective. I think I'm going to hold this island in my hand as a card to discard to Aqua Amoeba potentially. I don't have any need to have it in play quite yet. Were I to draw a second Plains, I think it wouldn't prevent me from casting 2 spells, or would it? It actually would. If I draw a second Plains, I'll just play like Mystic Zealot Pacifism potentially. No, I needed that guy to be alive. That didn't go well. That didn't go well at all. Down to 3. Yikes. I don't think I'm dead on board. Maybe I am. No, I definitely am. So I definitely lost that game because I didn't draw white mana for so long. I'm looking to see, did I really put two Plains on my deck? Maybe not. I think I just drew like an unusually high number of white cards that game. This is a much better hand. Definitely happy to trade. It's powering up my circular logic. We both have threshold cards in our deck, so it kind of helps both of us in that sense. I could go for Circular Logic, your 3-drop, untap Deep Analysis. Don't want to Circular Logic that. It's just a 2-1. I'll let them have their 2-1. I'm going to play Deep Analysis. I was thinking about maybe just leaving my Circular Logic up, but I don't know that I'd be that sad if I don't get to if I miss the opportunity to Circular Logic and Mystic Enforcer, since I already have Pacifism in my hand. My plan is just to play Phantom Flock next turn. As long as I'm sitting here with this Pacifism in hand, I don't think too much bad can happen to me for tapping out repeatedly. For people who haven't seen it before, this Terminal Moraine card, it's like Evolving Wilds, but it's kind of a weird twist because it produces mana on its own, but it costs mana to use. I think it's overall a little bit worse than Evolving Wilds. What does this card even do? The answer is nothing. Yeah, I'll pay 2 life. I guess one thing it does do is it makes my Pacifism pretty bad. That's something. I think I'm going to be cycling Veiled Serpent. I could just flashback the Deep Analysis too. Let's do that instead. Probably should have done that before I decided to play the Mystic Enforcer, but I've done it now. The Mystic Enforcer cannot block the Spectral Links and also can be blocked by the Spectral Links because it's green. So I'm going to need to get the Threshold for the Enforcer to really kick in. So the Pacifism kind of, because of Umbilicus, it just gets turned into a... Can you return your lands with this? The Pacifism gets turned into Unsummoned, basically. Return a permanent they control. No, I'm not going to pay 2 life. Return a Plains. I gotta say that this Umbilicus card is awful. Like, unbelievably bad. I do not think that my opponent is getting a card's worth of value from it. I think I want to counter that. I did play in a way that they can now attack me with the Spectral Links if they want to. But I got to spend my mana on cycling, which I wanted to get to do this way. And I'd be trading 2 for 1. Because I'll just swing back with the Aqua Amoeba. And actually, it's potentially 2 for 3 if I just want to discard cards. I don't think I was in a spot where I wanted to just discard cards. Actually, change of plans. I'm going to just discard a card. I'll get 2 more damage, and this Mystical Zealot will just be a 3/5. I won't have to worry about them doing something in response to it becoming a 3/5, which maybe there isn't really much they could do. I don't know. I want to deal damage. I didn't cycle because I didn't want them to just play some sort of instant, which there might not even be anything. I guess they could have a Solar Blast, but even that wouldn't really do all that much for them. They have the card that's exile an attacking creature. Order, I think is the name of it. When I said I didn't do anything, I meant because I didn't cycle the land. All right, on the draw, their deck is kind of aggressive. I actually might want to change my deck a little bit. I think, what if I cut the Veiled Serpent for Renewed Faith? Cut a Mystic Enforcer for a Savannah Lion. Cut a Forest for a Plains. Play it like that. I think Tadiova's too good to not play with, but the Mystic Enforcer, like the Pro Black, doesn't do anything. So it really only becomes a good card if I can get to Threshold. And it also, as we saw in that game, it makes their Pro Green, you know, they have a creature with Pro Green, so that is another knock against it. Although that's a really small knock. It's possible I want Snap in my deck. I don't think I want it over any of this other stuff. Is the sideboarding paying off? Is this the Savannah Lion I boarded in? Or is it the one I already had? You leave your answer in a comment. And also please leave your reasoning, because I'd like to know how people can tell. Opponent on a mull to 5, so I think it's probably not going to matter. I definitely want my Savannah Lion to just trade with one of their cards, given that I've got these 2 Circular Logics in my hand. I don't want it to trade with a Mogwar Marshal. That's the one thing I do not want to have happen. I will honestly just... I'm going to block the Goblin token if they attack. This is one of those things that I think some people don't really understand about Magic, where they're worried about having their cards trade down. It's 100% bad that I'm in a spot where I'm trading Savannah Lion off for like 1/3 of a card. But, and this is the important thing to understand, I don't really have a plan for like, how's my Savannah Lion ever going to do better than that? I guess in theory I could wait till they attack me with a 2 toughness creature and I could trade with the Savannah Lions then, but how much damage am I going to take trying to get to that point? So you can't just wait. Like you can't just decide that a trade is bad for you, like looking at the cards in a vacuum and just refuse to make it, because if you don't have a plan for how ever getting a better deal, you're just, you're just hurting yourself at that point. Do I want to wait to cast the Windborn Muse till I can protect it? It's honestly not the worst idea. I saw they have Solar Blast in their deck. And next turn I'll be able to go Windborn Muse plus Circular Logic. Don't think it's worth sending the Aquamoeba in here. I'd be dealing a point. If I wanted to attack with the Aquamoeba, I definitely should have done it before I cast the Windborn Muse. All right. They probably just had white cards in their hand and decided they'd had enough. This hand good on the play. This hand is pretty bad. Because even if I draw a land, my Circular Logic doesn't do anything. Let's hope for a better hand. This hand's a lot better. Get a little bit of F6 value. For people who don't know, F6 is the kind of pass priority button on Magic Online. I think it actually no longer is, but you can configure your settings so that you make it the way Magic Online was for like the first 18 years of its existence or whatever, where F6 was past the turn, or yeah, just completely past the turn. Please give me my second planes. All right, I was feeling kind of bad about how this game had started, but assuming my Mystic Zealot lives, I'll be able to flashback Battle Screech next turn, and that will go a long way to me feeling better about the game. One classic card that does not exist in this set, which is kind of, it exists in every set they make now, is there isn't a green card that just kills flying creatures, really. So green is much inherent, it's much worse against flyers than it is in newer sets. They get a terror here. They don't appear to, though. And that's why I first picked that card. 4 1/1 flying creatures from one card for 4 mana. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to take in. I should probably... I already played a land this turn, but next turn I should probably play my 6th land just because I have Deep Analysis in my deck. Whoa, Shivan Dragon. That's not a fair card. What am I going to do about that? I guess I have a pacifism? No, that actually is a good plan too. The benefits of keeping lands in my hand are Tadiova and also potentially pitching lands to Aquamoeba. Definitely blocking with the Phantom Flock and some birds. The question is, do I want to throw in an extra bird? Does it make it more likely to work? I think it makes it slightly more likely to work. Ooh, should have thrown in more birds. Achievement Dragon is going to be a problem. Pacifism, please. I think I can afford to take a hit from the Sheevan Dragon. And then we might be in chump block range. I probably should have thought a little bit more about how I tap my mana on casting that Deep Analysis. I would be a lot better off if I could have flashed back the Deep Analysis last turn as opposed to doing it next turn. Giant Spider. It's fine, I think. At least I'm going to tell myself that it's fine. I'm going to chump this turn. I'm kind of building up to being able to do something about the Sheevan Dragon if I just get to Threshold. Which I can just discard my hand to Aquamoeba if I want to do that. I don't want to do it this turn. The cards in my hand are too good. I'm just going to chump. Opponent might be a little bit scared that I'm going to do that, though. They're also getting to the point where they're going to have enough mana that the Stonewood Invoker starts being kind of scary. I could also draw Mana War. That would be a good draw. So this isn't ideal. This isn't awful for me, though. Should I just jump with the Gargoyle this turn and play the Mystic Zealot? I don't think so. I'm going to trade the Mystic Enforcer for the Shivan and my hand. Not thrilled about it. Maybe they'll play a spell pre-combat. Don't really want to double block because I would lose both of my creatures if I did that. Like I could have double block with Mystic Zealot and Keldor and Gargoyle, but I'd lose both creatures if I tried to do that. No. I say no to that. Deep analysis. Windborn Muse. Windborn Muse actually isn't a bad draw. It's not a great draw, but it's not awful. They need a land now if they want to be able to attack with the Stonewood Invoker. And I'll just block it with the Aquamaven, and they'd have to spend all of their mana, like 10 mana, trying to get through the Aquamaven with the Stonewood Invoker, which is acceptable to me. Okay, they made the Warbear into a 4/4. I'm less excited about that happening. And of course they have more good spells, so that's also not good. I guess they did just lose Threshold, so that's something. Ooh, nice. I think I need to continue to play aggressive. Being worked over by this giant spider. Okay. Gives me a little bit of hope. I can ice the Shivan for a turn. They can get the Threshold by cracking the Terminal Moraine, which is what they're going to do, but I don't think I really want to take 4 damage here. Come on, Mana War. Plains of War. It's not what I was hoping for. I'm gonna ice the Shivan on their turn. See what we got going on. I think I need to chump with Aquamoeba no matter what, so that's what I've got going on. Pacifism would be a really nice card to draw. I don't know if Pacifism's actually even enough now. Maybe Mana War into Pacifism gives me a chance to win. Number Bobcat, that's not the scariest of Bobcats. Mana War. Okay. They're at 9, so I don't kill them. What if I Mana War the Shivan, hit with those two? I go up to 8. I've got 2 blockers. This would have to jump there. Yeah. I think I can win this game if my top card is Pacifism. They do have this Corrosion Restorer that's producing 3 mana for them, which is a lot. I think I don't want to chump the Warbear. Second Warbear? Yikes. I think I'm done. I wonder if I missed a point somewhere. Maybe where things went wrong was that turn where I just got wrecked by Wax. I think if I blocked with everything, maybe the game goes better for me. I mean, they would have gotten the Shivan Dragon back eventually, but I would have had to jump less, I think, over the course of the game. So I can get to 7, but they can pump this thing to 10, so I'm going to have to block that. Oh, I guess I can block in a way where I win if my top card is Pacifism and they don't have anything. One in 7 shot. Tadiova gives me a redraw. Oh, no longer. Wrath of God. Impulse. It's Is my pacifism already in the graveyard? It's just one of... It's at the bottom of my deck. If I still had the 3/5 flyer, I could have taken Tadiova and played a land to potentially win. I'm not going to show them I have Tadiova in my deck when I no longer think it's possible for my deck to win. Maybe I don't want the Veiled Serpent. Maybe I want Leaden Fists instead. I wish it was a Veiled Serpent. None of my cards do anything. You can't even play Mana War just as a creature because it just goes right back to your hand. I'll Mana War this, which will allow me to start getting some damage in, and then I'll be able to untap and impulse for a land, or if I draw a land, I'll just pass. Leave Circular Logic up. I think I want to make my land drop. The other thing is by doing it like this, I am making it so that my Circular Logic is for 2 now instead of 1. If I just passed, it would have only been for 1. Which isn't as good as 2. Am I getting hit by the Croson Restorer? I am. Should I Leaden Fists the Croson Restorer? It is making my Circular Logics worse, for sure. But I think we'll hold off on doing that. I really wish I had found a Plains. You know how I could have won that last game? If I'd Circular Logic to the Giant Spider. Which at the time I thought that it was fine not to Circular Logic it, but it would have worked out so much better had I done so. This is turning into a pretty strange game. Pretty sure the Moraine puts the land into play tapped. It does. All right. Just a little bit too worried about letting them resolve the big expensive card. Maybe that was wrong. This is not the best Savannah Lion the world has ever seen. Seer. Sure. I'll probably Leaden Fists that, actually. Over the course of the long game, that card actually is kind of scary. Savannah Lions down. Okay. Okay. I could go for a deep analysis. It's not a horrible draw. It's no deep analysis, though. Seems like they have Icker Slick. Kind of surprised with this attack. Wonder what is good about it. I guess if they untap and if they play a 4-mana card, 5-mana card even, I'll feel kind of bad. Yeah, I feel bad. Feel real bad. Flametongue Kavu is one of those power level outlier cards in this format that it's just so much better than everything else. I'm not going to block this turn in case I draw planes, so I can play my Battle Screech. So I'm going to double block the Flametongue Kavu. Take 4, go to 3. They might be able to afford to pay on this life, but if they pay, then they're not going to be able to attack with their lands. So it won't be that big of a problem. The problem is if they have another spell to cast. Like Urborg Uprising, I would not enjoy. Deadwood Treefolk, not going to enjoy it. Shivan Dragon, didn't enjoy that one either. Their deck is good. They have a lot of really good cards. Probably playing Urborg Uprising too, yep. have access to 8 mana, I think. So this counter actually works. Sure, something bad's gonna happen to me here. Maybe it's just going to be Deadwood Treefolk. Even that, I don't know if I could beat. But maybe if it's Deadwood Treefolk and I draw Deep Analysis. Deep Analysis into like Mystic Zealot, maybe. Pacifism. A little bit late, Pacifism. A little bit late. I didn't say it earlier. This is it's 3 matches. It's not single limb. So I think I'm playing for 2 packs now. My deck is definitely worse than my previous opponent's deck. They had a good deck, and I needed my cards to line up really well to be able to compete, and they did not. It hasn't helped that I don't think I've had any game yet where I had my Tadiova, which is, I think, my best card for sure. Like, I warped my mana to get it into my deck, and if you never get to put it into play, it doesn't pay off doing that to your deck. You're not an island. In some ways, it's better than an island, just because it's going to get a card in my graveyard. And actually, it's just better than an island that turn, because if I'd gone like Island Aquamoeba, that wouldn't have been... I think that would have been worse than just an island that puts a card into my graveyard. Especially if my opponent's not doing anything again. I like that. I think what's going on is maybe they're just so scared of the Savannah Lions, they're petrified and refusing to act. Is that what's going on? Let's find out. Seems like they've stopped acting, so it must be what's going on. Doing pretty well with the plains at this point. Could go for another island. I think I'm going to sit on Circular Logic for 1 rather than play Aquamoeba. It's possible that they're just going to play a 5-drop. Like, they haven't done anything yet. So maybe their hand is just like another land and a 5-drop. Hey, how'd I know? Now that I got paid for doing that, the second Circular Logic is going to be better. It's going to be for 2. They could have Force of Will. Force of Will is in this set. And too many planes. The Savannah Lion is doing a number on their life total. It's already done 8 damage. Slice and Dice is a card that's in this format. Yeah, I'm not going to play scared of it, I guess. For people that don't know, Slice and Dice it's a red card that if you cycle it, it does a point of damage to everything. Which, that would be really bad for me. It's an uncommon. Wait, they're playing Circular Logic for 2? This was a strange turn of events. Festering Goblin. That's kind of annoying. There aren't any cards like Village Rites or Deadly Dispute in this set. The least you can sack your own Festering Goblin is just to creatures. There's a Phyrexian Ghoul, which I think is the same name as some card that's on Arena. That's a good target for a pacifism. When I was saying earlier that there's really steep power level differences, or some of the cards are just so much better than other cards. I mean, look at this card. It's a 3-mana 3/4 flyer, but it requires you to exile a creature from play. Which, that's just, like, in a set that has cards like Tadiova and Flametongue Kavu in it, this card is way below them in power level. I wouldn't say it's so bad that you can't play with it under any circumstances, but it is pretty bad. I'm going to leave Veiled Serpent in my deck since they're playing blue. All right. They're also playing black, so the protection from black from Mystic Enforcer could matter. Not so excited about the 2 double white cards in my opening hand. Getting a little more excited about them now. I think if we were to go back and look at it, there was probably a better way for me to draft where I wouldn't have wound up being white. I maybe got too tunnel visioned on the Battle Screech. I think I definitely was supposed to be blue, and I guess it was like the Battle Screech plus then the Mystic Enforcer that really made me want to play white. So maybe there wasn't a way out of it. I don't think there was enough red cards that I should have wanted to be red. I maybe could have just been straight blue-green. If I really want to, I could throw, I don't know, Battle Screech in the graveyard to get access to Circular Logic. I don't think I want it that bad, though. Just going to Battle Screech on my turn. Take some damage. If I draw a 5th land, I can play Phantom Flock, flashback Battle Screech if they don't have anything. That's one of the nice things about playing these older, well, formats with older cards, is you just, like, you aren't under so much pressure on turns 2 through 5 of the game. You actually can reasonably kind of sacrifice life and board position to sequence your cards in a way that works out better. That's the main appeal of playing these old sets, I think, is that I think that the pacing of the game is just better than it is in modern Magic sets. Modern Magic sets, the cards are power crept to the point that it actually takes away from the gameplay. They chose to go for damage with their deep analysis, pitching it for 2 damage. They missed their land drop. I kind of feel like they're playing like they have Mystical Dispute. So I'm just going to play my Aquamoeba, which I can pay for Mystical Dispute unless they pitch a bunch of cards from their hand. And I'm just going to attack them, and then I'll go and get my Forest with Terminal Moraine, and build my Circular Logic up to the point where it's a little bit more taxing. Faceless Butcher. Do I even care about that? I guess I don't really care about it, but the problem is, assuming they actually have Mystical Dispute, now they're going to be able to pitch to the Aquamoeba the Mystical Dispute. Ooh, they're going after a bird token. Okay. I didn't think that's what they were going to do. It works out way worse for them that they did that. I guess they were worried that I was going to be able to flash back the Battle Screech. So probably their line of play makes sense from their perspective. I think it's not going to work out very well for them, just because of the way my hand is. They're going to play Circular Logic, and I'm going to Circular Logic their Circular Logic. It's very important that I don't pitch my Circular Logic to the Aquamoeba until after they've cast their Circular Logic. Madness generates a pretty confusing looking stack. It's going to be really hard for them to win from this point. I've got a pro-black creature in play, and I've got Manowar plus Circular Logic in my hand. It's not impossible, but they're going to need to have a good turn for sure. Okay. That really wasn't the kind of thing that I would classify as a good turn. I'm not even sure this was the best use of my turn. I'm being honest about it. I guess I didn't really have anything that could block the 4/2 Aqua maybe that well, because you can't block it with just a 2/2 because they can just pitch a card. Phyrexian Ghoul. Okay. Do I want to be worried about their circular logic? I can just jam a Phantom Flock. I think I like jam Phantom Flock. One downside of this is now I don't have access to my circular logic, which is a big downside. But they didn't do anything all that good with their previous 2 turns. And now I am in a spot now where if I get to untap and I'm in a favorable board position, I'm just gonna sit on circular logic. I suppose I'm not gonna get to untap in that favorable of a board position. If they have a removal spell. Although we are getting to the point where the Mystic Enforcer is about to become a 6/6 flying pro-black creature, which is probably going to be very hard for my opponent to deal with. I didn't mention it earlier. One of the reasons I'm doing this Dominaria Remastered draft is because it doesn't feel like there's much going on in Arena as we're waiting for Phyrexia All is One to come out, that's going to be out in a couple of days. So I'll be making videos for that once it's out, and I'll make them on Arena. I might actually draft some on Magic Online. But I'll be making Arena videos for it. I'm not going to make Magic Online draft videos for formats that you can play on Arena. I don't know what my opponent's about over there, but I think they're probably realizing Phyrexian or Mystic Enforcer is just a really obnoxious card against black decks. I'm at 9 life. I have access to 6 damage. I think I'm going to leave 2 bird tokens back to block. The plan being to just chump the Phyrexian Ghoul with one of the bird tokens. I wanted to leave 2 back because they can just kill 1 by sacking the Festering Goblin to the Phyrexian Ghoul. Alright, 2 boosters, so I came out a little bit behind on that draft. And the way these drafts work on Magic Online, you have to go 3-0 to come out ahead, which makes them really not a very good proposition to play in, but it's fun for now. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.